some things came up, and Andrea is not going to be able to join. I know it's a double negative. So not only is she not here, but you also have to look at me, and I really apologize for that. So yeah, it's never the same when she's not here. So and makes it hard. So the original plan for tonight. Actually, I'll start with where I'm at. So I'm at Sherlock's, which is one of the bars that we like to go to here in Pogradec. And yeah, I'll just give you guys a quick look around at the way this place looks. It's pretty cool place. It's got a lot of memorabilia, old stuff. Um, it's kind of it's a kind of a British pub theme, but it's stuff from all over the place. We got a nice Vespa here. Got a fire going. Always a movie going on in that room over there. And then here, this is really cool. Right next to where I'm sitting, there's this old Soviet radio, CCCP. So yeah, how cool is that? Some old stuff. All right. And can you guys hear me? Yeah, yes, somebody. Yes, it is the most pricey bar in Pogradec for sure. You pay for the ambiance, I suppose. That's just how it goes. But it's nice, and they let me do live streams here. And my parents love it, so it has a special place in my heart for me. They have good red wine. Most places here have really good red wine. My dad says yeah, it's his favorite place. Um, but I kind of feel like the red wine here is it's always spot on. I never have a bad glass of wine here. Whereas some places, I've had some tart wine here, but most of the time it's really good. Yeah, Alyaz does. He has to admit that it is a nice environment. I think he described it as bougie when we were here, which it certainly is. But like, look, it's it's one of the nicer places we have here in Pogradec, and I like the ambiance. It's kind of dark. A lot of things in Albania when you go to a bar, it'll be more bright, more modern. I really like, even though it's not like Albanian-esque or Mediterranean, it's very British pub. I like it. It's cool. We even got, I don't know if you can see behind me there, got the Queen. God rest her soul, I guess, if you're into that stuff. Um, so yeah, that's where we're at. And again, I apologize. We've had a hell of a day, and Andrea is just not able to join. It's really disappointing. Yeah, that's right. Al says. I think he's responding to me saying that he said it was bougie. Um, they don't even have rakia. I think it's not very in touch with its socialistic past. Yeah, I'm sure they have rakia. Come on, I guarantee it. There's nowhere. I mean, you go to the furniture store and they have rakia. Are you kidding me? You don't find a place in Albania that doesn't have rakia. Come on. So so yeah, it's just me tonight. We've had a hell of a day. We've got a lot of stuff going on. I kind of thought about canceling the live stream myself because our plan was that she and I were going to kind of interview each other about our experiences coming here and moving here. And it makes it really hard for me because now I don't have her to bounce off of, and I didn't have any really prepared material to just kind of go verbatim like we are right now. So I think what we'll do tonight, and this will probably be a short live stream, but I'm getting my channel's moving along, and I'm getting very close to the threshold where maybe YouTube might actually start paying me for my work on YouTube, which would be really nice. I've been making a lot of videos for a long time, and the more hours I get, the better the closer I get to meeting that threshold, so that I can make the $10 a month that maybe they'll send me or something. So yeah, I really appreciate you all being here. I think what we'll do tonight is I'll kind of go through the questions. Hey, hi Dan. He wants to know where Andrea is. Dan, Andrea and I have had a really one hell of a day, and we have a lot going on. I almost was going to cancel this, but I really need to get my YouTube hours up and try and make sure. I kind of trying to treat this like a job and make sure that I'm consistent with doing this every Sunday. She's feeling wiped out. I'm feeling pretty wiped out too. But yeah, she couldn't do it, and she has a lot of other things that she needs to work on. We had some things come up today. We'll call it a plethora of problems we have to deal with that I need to deal with as well. But like I said, I try to treat my YouTube channel more and more as a sort of occupation as I'm trying to grow it and monetize it and do all of that. So I apologize that she's not here. It's really tough not having her here with me. Makes it makes it way less fun too. Although, having said that, I love having all of you guys here. It's really, I really appreciate it. And I love that you guys join us every Sunday. Me alone the past 2 Sundays. I really do appreciate it. So I was going, like I said, our plan was we were going to kind of talk about our journeys here, because Andrea and I, a lot of people think that we came here as a couple, but we didn't. We met here in Albania. My little joke is I went all the way to Albania to meet a girl from Ohio. And so we were going to talk about that a little bit, about some of the reasons we had for moving out of the States, some of the reasons we had for picking Albania, and all that sort of thing. But like I said, we had a lot of things to deal with today, and she's hard at work trying to sort through her part of it. And then when I get off the live stream here, I'm going to be hard at work trying to sort through it. And yeah, plethora of problems to deal with. That's part of life. Sometimes that sort of thing happens. So I'm gonna spin the camera around again real quick now that Dan and Michelle and them are here, so they can get a look at our bar here real quick. I know I already did this at the beginning. So Dan and Michelle, they're good friends of ours, and they live in Leze, which is on the coast north of Tirana, so a good distance away. So we don't get to see them very often. We've only seen them here twice, and it was while they were here on one trip. But we really like spending time with them. Really good people. And they are a supporter of the channel. They actually donated a camera to us, which we really appreciate. So I'm going to pan around real quick for you guys. Dan and Michelle, this is Sherlock's in Pogradec. It's kind of got a British pub theme. We got, like I showed before, we got the Vespa. We got the main room here, nice cozy fire going. And my favorite thing, when I came and sat down, I noticed immediately that there was this really cool old stereo. And if you look at it, it's Russian, CCCP, or Soviet, I should say, not Russian, Soviet. That's cool. This place is full of cool old artifacts like that. Really, it's my parents' favorite place here. My friend Al loves it. He thinks it's bougie, but deep in his heart, he likes it, I think. There's usually a kitten and a cat here that Andrea and I love, so we'll come in here and we'll have a cappuccino or a glass of wine and put the kitten in our lap and hang out. And it's kind of it is, as Al said, the most expensive place in Pogradec, but it gives us kind of a sense of zen. It's nice and dark, like I said. It's not Mediterranean. It's very much British, but we like it. So that's that. Let me see what are people here saying. Michelle says she's sorry, had such a crazy day. Yeah, Michelle, and maybe I reach out to you guys later, because it's all expat related stuff, but right now it's personal. But I wouldn't mind sharing it with you guys and kind of getting your perspective on it. Let's see, you'll do great, Craig. Thank you, Ellis, Scrabble buddy. You're welcome for keeping the live stream up. Like I said, I'm trying to do this every Sunday. I'm trying to be consistent about it and treat it, try to be professional, treat it as an occupation. And I'm very close to reaching the threshold that I need to take the next step in YouTube here, and I want to keep that going. Speaking of that, I just released a new mini documentary on the ancient city of Apollonia, which is near the Albanian city of Fier, and also near the Albanian city of Vlora. So if you are ever in the Vlora area, or if you happen to be in Fier, more people go to Vlora because it's right on the coast. I highly recommend you take a day trip up to Apollonia. It's a really interesting Illyrian to Greek to Roman to Byzantine to abandoned site. And there's lots of ruins there. It's really cool. Really beautiful place. And I see my dad's chiming in, and he actually makes a cameo in my mini documentary. So you should tune in just for that. My mom says enjoyed the video on Apollonia. Thank you, Mary. I really appreciate that. There's my mom. I think that's my mom. There's a couple Marys that pop in now and then. I'm not sure which one's her. That sounds like something she would say. So yeah, I've just released that. Came out yesterday. And yeah, if you guys haven't seen it, I'd really appreciate it if you give it a look, a like, and a comment. That really helps move the channel along as well. The more that I get, the more the algorithm centers in on it, and the more it spreads it out to other people. And as some of you know, I'm really trying to make a go of the YouTube thing and trying to put out really good quality educational content, as opposed to, there's so much bullshit on YouTube. And, so much on all the platforms. Like the internet really is a cesspool by and large, but it also serves some really good purposes. And I'm trying to be a really positive contribution to that. And my background, I'm a biologist. I'm a marine biologist, but I also have a minor in classical studies. And so ancient history has always been a passion of mine. And I'm looking to pursue that as much as I can and make this into a sort of job. So yeah, if you guys would check that out, and especially my other documentaries, I really appreciate it. I also have a guitar video that I'm quite proud of that has like 300 views, which is very low for my channel. I don't know why. I think it's really good. Other people that have watched, I think it's really good, but I think maybe people just aren't into watching music videos. But yeah, if you haven't seen my guitar video, I'd really appreciate you checking that out as well. I did it in a moonlit field here in Pogradec, out by my house, and did a rhythm and a lead to it, and I'm pretty proud of it. It's completely composed by me, filmed by me, and just like all the stuff I do everything, from especially with like my history videos. I do all the research. I do all the site visits. I do all the filming. I do all the editing. I do all the production. I am a one-stop shop when it comes to YouTube, with the exception of when we do these live streams, and I have the lovely Andrea with me, which I always miss having her here when she's not here, because she and I have so much fun doing them together. It just wasn't going to be possible tonight. So yeah, so that's what's going on, and I'm going to take a break here for a second and look at some of the comments, because they're kind of going by. I see there's stuff on here, and I think that's what we'll do tonight, since we don't have Andrea here for her and I to kind of interview each other, which is what I really had planned for tonight. I'm just going to try and answer any of your questions. I'd really love to do that, and I think that would be fun. And this isn't the sort of format we usually do, but I can engage back and forth with you guys, especially if you have questions about Albania, our move here, what it's like, what I like, what I don't like, any of that stuff. I'm an open book. Andrea's not here. I'm not allowed to talk politics when she's here, so if you won't even ask me about stuff like that, I'll maybe chime in. I don't know. We'll see. Let's see. Let me check out some of these questions here. Michelle says the Apollonia video was awesome. Thank you very much, Michelle. I really appreciate it. Also, can you guys hear the background music? I mean, I'm hoping I don't get like a copyright strike for this. The Chili Peppers are playing right now. I've got my lav mic on, but I'm hoping that it's not overwhelmingly loud. If it's just in the background, YouTube won't ding me. But there's always a possibility that they'll come after me for having music in the background that isn't copyright or whatever. But YouTube, I'm not doing it on purpose. I'm not a bar. I don't have control over the music, so I apologize. All right, let me look at some of these questions here. Love the Apollonia video. Need more history. Thanks, Dan. Yeah, I love making that. That's my passion. I really like. I'll do my life in Albania stuff and some of that and the live streams. I like doing the live streams too. A little walk around town video. My real passion though is making these historical documentaries. That's something I really want to get better at. That I know there's some things I can do to become better at it. The problem with those sorts of videos is I'm trying to be on top of this and put out a video regularly. I want to get to one a week, but those videos take a minimum of a week to produce because, for one, I have to visit the site and do all the filming. And then I have to go back. I mean, I know a lot from my education, but I don't know every detail about every ancient ruin in every country. So I have to do an enormous amount of research, and then I have to condense that research into a script that I type out, and I try to make it concise and as informative and as entertaining as possible to a degree. And just that process takes a lot of time. And then I do all the voiceover. So I got to sit there and record all the voiceover work, put all that together, then go through all the footage and edit all that together, and then put it all together in YouTube and do titles and thumbnails and write descriptions. And so just one of those videos takes forever. Whereas some of my other stuff that I do where I'm just kind of walking around town with a camera, that's super easy. It's just like I do it. A little tiny bit of editing goes onto YouTube. It's done. The history videos take an enormous amount of time, and but I endeavor to put one of those out at least every couple of weeks, and then I'll try to do some of the walk and talk videos. I want to do maybe some restaurant reviews here. There's a couple of restaurants here I really like that I want to kind of showcase, and then my life in Albania and things like that. So and the live streams as well. And then maybe even like I'm gonna maybe do some cooking videos. My friend Alyaz has got me some farro, which is an ancient grain. It would be like one of the primary grains that the Greeks and Romans and Illyrians would have used to make their bread and so forth. So I'm going to maybe do a recipe with that, and I'm really looking forward to it. Next time he's in town, I know it's at his house. He lives here part of the time. He and his girlfriend Julie, who are good friends of mine. They work in different places, but they do have a house here. And when the weather's good, they come here on weekends. So hopefully I'll get that farro soon and do a cooking show. I do have one cooking video on eating cheap and eating beans and a red sauce here, and it's really good. So okay, I digress. I'm sorry. I'm gonna get to the questions here. Let's see. Apollonia, video's great. How many places did you visit before you decided to settle in Albania? What did Albania offer that others didn't? Okay, so, and that's from Alaska Top Dog, Regina, who's a supporter of the channel. Thank you so much, Regina. I really appreciate your support. It means a lot to Andrea and I. Yeah, so a lot of places. And I'll be honest, Albania wasn't my first choice. I have a background in Greek, so that's my second. It used to be my second language. It's really rusty now, but I used to be pretty proficient at it when I was younger. And I really wanted to move to Greece. However, I'm a real American. I'm a European mutt. I have genetics from all over the continent, and therefore I don't qualify for citizenship in any country, which is really disappointing to me. The closest I come would be Lithuania. Unfortunately, my ancestors moved like 10 years too soon. Before it was under German occupation, and then they left during that time, and then it became the Republic of Lithuania. And if they'd only, if my ancestors had only toughed it out a little bit and stayed there for another decade, dealt with the Germans in World War I, I could have Lithuanian citizenship, but they decided to bail and go to the U.S. So I'm eligible for no citizenship by descent. But Greece was my first choice, and like I said, that was my second language. I still love Greece. And Albania is one of the reasons. It's one of the reasons I chose Albania. Is because it's right next door to Greece, and a lot of people here do speak Greek, and I'm able to communicate with them. I'm terrible at Albanian. It's a horribly difficult language. But basically, I was looking for places. I wanted to be in the Mediterranean somewhere. Greece was my first choice, and I think France was my second choice. Both very, because they're EU countries, it's very difficult for a U.S. citizen to move there. And I did have some opportunities, not so much for Greece, but for France. And due to the life issues I was dealing with then, like being married and so forth, and having a partner who didn't want to move to France, it just didn't happen. But I did have a potential opportunity I missed out on, and I'm really kicking myself now over that. I really wish I could have divorced her and just moved there. I would be much happier. But if I did that, I would have met Andrea. So, things work in weird ways, right? So I wanted to be somewhere in the Mediterranean basin. I wanted to be somewhere in the former Roman Empire, because again, that's part of my background, and I really want to do the things that I'm doing with making these videos about these ancient places. It's a real passion of mine. I know I'm such a dork, right? But that's who I am, and I really love doing that stuff. And so that's where I want it to be. And I was watching a video. I don't know if you watch the channel. I think David's Been Here. And while I was looking at different countries, a video on Albania came up, and I was like, why didn't I ever think about Albania? Because I actually had a business colleague when I lived in Florida who is an Albanian, and very successful small business owner. Many Albanians that move to America are very successful, but he told me some interesting stories, and he escaped communism. And he would tell me, it's such a beautiful country, but he had to get out. I think he actually swam from Saranda over to Corfu to escape. Which, but they're very close, but it's still quite a swim across the straits there. So really, really amazing. And so I watched this video on David's Been Here, or David's Been There. And I was like, and then I found James Leithart, who's a friend of mine and lives here. And he was one of the first people who moved to young Americans who moved to Albania and started actually making videos here. And I started watching some of his videos, and then reached out to him and talked to him about it. And I started making trips here, and also looked at Bulgaria and North Macedonia, Serbia, Montenegro, anywhere that was outside of the EU that I thought would make it a little bit easier for me to move here. And so basically, I started doing research in Albania, and I found out that there's a lot of perks. Like, Americans can live here visa free for an entire year. You can get a residence permit by purchasing property. It's one way you can get a residence permit. They have a good digital nomad visa, one of the best in Europe. And something I didn't know, it is the most, or it was at least, the most pro-American country in the world. I would say it was more pro-America than America is. You see you used to see a lot of American flags here. You still see some. And because everybody here has a relative somewhere in the U.S., a relative or a friend or a niece or a nephew, something along those lines, that lives in the U.S. So there's a great bond between Albania and the United States. And there still is, but it's not the same for obvious reasons. But so I came, and I came here several times, did a lot of touring of the country, decided I really liked Pogradec, mostly based on the weather. There are other places that were more interesting to me historically, and obviously I love the Mediterranean, so here it would be the Adriatic or the Ionian coast. But the climate in Pogradec is really good. I moved here from Maine, so I like cooler weather. In Albania, it gets very hot. And this is the coolest part of Albania. We're on Europe's oldest lake and its second deepest lake, and that creates a microclimate. So that combined with our elevation really keeps things cool. We have 4 seasons. We get snow. In the summers, instead of being in the upper 90s, low hundreds, they're, hover around the upper 80s pretty much. And it always gets really cool at night. So I don't even have air conditioning at night. I open everything up and the house cools down, and then like 6 in the morning I close everything up and the house stays cool all day. Works out really well. So that's kind of how I picked Albania and how I picked Pogradec more specifically. And here I am until I move on somewhere else. All right, let me see what else we have. My dad says he's still waiting for a music video where I sing, display my voice. Yeah, I do. I'm very, very busy right now. I haven't even been playing the guitar, much less trying to sing as well. I got to find a way to pick some of that up again. I'd really like to. Life is busy. Life is very busy. I'm trying to make this into a job. I want YouTube to be a source of income, but I'm also looking for a job. And anybody who is out there in this horrific modern job market knows that means you spend days doing nothing but sitting in front of the computer and revising your resume and curtailing it to specific jobs and sending it out to hundreds of inboxes to get maybe 1 in 40 responses. It's like, sorry, we're not hiring right now or something. So I spend a lot of my time doing that, and then just life stuff, dealing with living in the village, coming into town, shopping. That's a whole day ordeal. And Andrea and I have 2 different places, so she and I are constantly going back and forth with all of our stuff, and that takes a lot of time. And I rely on public transportation, so the time just gets eaten up. There's a lot of things I'd like to do. I'd like to start writing too. I'd like to write a book about my experience here and meeting Andrea and so forth. And I like to play guitar and do all these other things. It's just time, and I'm trying to focus on the YouTube channel right now, along with putting my resume out there and exploring some other possibilities, potentially some other countries as well. So that's really taken up all my time. But yeah, sorry, Dad. I'll get a music video out to you. Try to. Let's see. You can hear it, probably not enough to auto ID. She's talking about the background music. The background is garbled, kind of like early Skype calls. Good. Yeah, I don't want the background music to create a copyright problem for me. Europats, hello Europats. I see you have joined us. We have got to get together and do a live stream together. That's something we've got to do soon for sure. All right, what else do we have? Hi Euros, howdy Dan, Europats. Hello, everybody saying hello to one another. We didn't think anything about Albania until we started watching Patrick when he was still in Fort Worth, Texas. Yeah, I mean, it's become a lot more popular, but especially when I first started coming here, it was way off the radar. And the only person, like I said, David's been here is the first one that I saw, and he came and did a couple of videos, but he does videos all over the world. But James Lightheart actually lives here, and he does a lot of videos. So I started watching his stuff, but he was the only one. He was basically alone here doing videos, and slowly it's become more popular. But yeah, I mean, it was a real hidden gem. Now it's not so hidden anymore. Become a lot more popular. Still not as popular as other European countries. Occasionally you'll still tell an American, "Oh, I'm in Albania," and they'll be like, "Where's that?" But it's definitely gotten a lot more headlines and so forth lately, and especially with it, trying to get into the EU. Albania is kind of gotten popular. So let's see, what else do we got here? Alyssa Scrabble Buddy says we have similar ancestry, Craig. Potentially my last hope for citizenship by descent was Croatia. I'm working on it right now. Well, Alyssa Scrabble Buddy, I wish you the best of luck. If I would kill to be able to get citizenship by descent in any EU country. It's always been a dream of mine. I never felt very at home in the United States. It's not for me. I love New England. I went to the University of Maine, and I love that part of the country. And I was in a really cool town. I'd lived in Ohio for a few years, and which sounds horrible, but I was in a really cool town in Ohio called Marietta, which is a beautiful historic town. The first town settled in the Northwest Territories was actually settled by George Washington and his officers from the Revolutionary War. Lots of historical buildings and a really cool place. So I'm nostalgic for those places, but I've never really felt home in the U.S. It's never really it just never quite felt right. I never really felt American. I have a lot of issues with the U.S. and how it conducts its business, and there's also a lot of things that I really think are wonderful about the U.S. Some things that are struggling right now, but yeah, it's tough. It's tough. There's a lot of things I really do miss, and I know things are rough over there, but there are a lot of good people in America, and I wish you the best of luck. But however, if you can get citizenship by descent somewhere in Europe, go for it. I mean, worst case scenario, you have a second passport, and Europe is wonderful. I love Europe. So let's see, what else do we have? My ancestors came over on the Mayflower, I think. I'm mostly Norwegian and Scottish. Are you comfortable telling us if Andrea had visited other countries before moving to Albania? I actually have an ancestor that came over on the Mayflower as well, on my mother's side. So the story goes. I want to get more into some of my ancestry stuff. I have connected with some people in Europe that are distant relatives of mine, and that's really cool. But yeah, we have somebody on my mother's side that is came over on the Mayflower apparently. And as far as Andrea goes, no, Albania was the first time. Not only did she not go to other countries, but Albania was when she moved here, was the first time she had ever been out of the country. So it's one of the things I love about her. She is a brave one, and it takes an enormous amount of fortitude, focus, and courage. And it's one of the things I love about her. She's a special one. So yeah, so that's how that goes. Let's see what else we got. Finding documents. Yeah, Alyssa Scrabble Buddy saying she's having difficulty finding documents to get everything she needs to apply for citizenship by descent. And I've never had to deal with that, because every time I got to a certain point in my research, I would realize I just don't quite qualify. I miss it by one generation, or I'm not enough of that ethnicity to qualify, or my ancestors were, running away from the Germans and left. So I just I don't have that really easy back door into Europe. So I've got to find another way, and I'm trying, and it's expensive, and it's actually part of the reason today was such a nightmare. Some of you I'm close to, I'll tell you what's going on later personally, but it's hard immigrating and trying to live in a different place and dealing with everything that comes with that. So yeah, let's see what else we got here. One of the best things about Albania, its location, is that you can travel to other European countries to visit, and it will not break the bank. Yeah, and that's one of the things that I really love about living over here. We have a trip coming up, in fact, and it's going to be to another European country, and the plane tickets were a little over $200 a piece. Whereas anytime I would fly, actually I did really well coming here from the U.S. I would fly Turkish and I would wait for a deal, and I did get some like $600 plane tickets. But most of the time, if you are leaving somewhere from the U.S. and flying over here to Europe, it's going to be over $1,000. So, and not to mention the super long plane ride. So that is a real plus to living in Albania. You can be here, use it as a base, and fly around not only to other parts of Europe, but also Asia and places like that. Turkey is right here. Where I live here in Pogradec, I'm right on the border of Greece and North Macedonia. So I love traveling to those places. Really, really wonderful. Let's see, what else do we have? How far in advance do you book your flights to get good prices? Usually a couple of months is when I start looking, and I'll try a couple of different sites. I'll go through my credit card, and it's more expensive than it was. I mean, there were times when I would look at flights and they'd be like $99 inside of Europe, and like I said, this last one that we're going on is going to be a little over 200 a piece. That's still a lot better than 1,000, right? Vacation. Michelle says she feels more at home in Albania than she ever did in the U.S. Yeah, I wouldn't say I entirely feel at home here. I love Albania. The language thing is really hard. Um, Albanian is an excruciatingly difficult language, so that makes it tough. Outside of that, I feel at home here, but it can be tough. You know, a lot of people in my village do speak Greek, so I'm able to communicate with them, but not everybody. And there are definitely times that I have to use Google Translate and things like that just to get through standard tasks in life. But yeah, like I was saying, I never really felt home in the U.S. I don't. There are things about the U.S. I love. I really don't ever want to go back. Hopefully, I don't have to. We'll see. These problems resolve themselves. Let's see. Yeah, same one spirit of one right. Dan says the U.S. is a great place to be from. Yeah, absolutely. That's what we used to say about. That was our joke about Ohio. Ohio was a great state to be from. Also, that it was odd that Ohio sent more astronauts into space, which lends yourself to wonder what is it about Ohio that makes people want to leave the planet. So, yeah, America is a great place to be from. And depending on where you are in America, it's a great place to be. Again, there are some very wonderful things about the United States that I do miss, but by and large, my outlook and perspective is much more European. Let's see. Nomad. Yeah, I think you are, Regina, a total nomad. I love seeing. I'm the same way. I love seeing other places. That is one of the downsides of the U.S. is no matter where you are, you can go coast to coast, north to south, and it's going to be Taco Bell, Bed Bath and Beyond, Walmart, and all the standard bullshit, Applebee's. And every day it's more of a monoculture. I like diversity. I like going to different places. We have diversity built in, obviously, which is great. You can go out for sushi one night, Mexican food the next. But you can do that in Europe too, for the most part. Not so much Mexican food, but foods from all over the place. Even here in Pogradec, we have amazing sushi. Let's go figure. Let's see. Dan says my ancestors are those Germans. Yeah. Thanks a lot, Dan's ancestors, for chasing my ancestors out of Lithuania and screwing me out of a European passport. I really appreciate that. They could have toughened up. They could have just stayed and dealt with the Germans. It was World War I. It wasn't even a really bad one. Let's see, what else do we have? Right. Do you think Albania is more difficult than Macedonian? Yeah, in terms of language, I think Albanian is much more difficult than Macedonian. It is. It's hard to even describe how difficult the language actually is. It really is like it's its own thing. It's one of the most ancient languages in the world. Lithuanian is this way too, where they've got their own branch off the tree. It's got a distant relation to Greek and Italian, but that's more through Latin because they were, the Greeks and the Romans and the Illyrians, all shared an empire together. So there is some crossover there, but it's minimal. It's really minimal. And obviously, even with the Greek, which is a difficult language, there's a lot of carryover into English. Things just kind of make sense. The grammar makes way more sense to me Albanian grammar. I don't understand like how Albanian grammar works. It's really confusing. But like in Greek, the word for small is mikro, which where we get microscope, and things like that. So there's a lot of things that are somewhat intuitive. Macedonian is I've learned a little bit of Macedonian when I was over there. I don't have a lot of experience with it. It's in the Cyrillic alphabet, which is actually really easy once you learn it. It's based off Greek, and it makes. I found like the basics of Macedonian to be considerably easier than Albanian. Albania has, it'll have a lot of syllables. For instance, just to say hello. In Macedonian, it's Stravo. In Albanian, it's Persian Detia. It's like there's a lot of until you really learn it. There's a lot of chances to trip up on the word, and then you start trying to use these words in sentences, and they change constantly. Like the noun, like depending on the context, it's not just like the verb changes. The noun changes, the verb changes, the participle changes, the connecting word changes, the conjunction, like every word in the sentence changes depending on past tense, future tense, who you're talking to, when you're talking to them. It's bizarrely confusing. And it's not just the endings that change. Sometimes the whole word changes and it's the same word. There'd be like 20 different forms of the same verb, and it's just like where in English is hard too, but it's like you make something plural, you just add an s to it. Not in Albanian. And there's so many different ways to make it work, and then the way the grammar works, putting adjectives and nouns and verbs, it's confusing. Even when I'll take something that somebody's written to me in Albanian and I'll translate it into English. I mean, sometimes I won't understand what they're talking about because it's written in this like mystic poetry form, right? It's very ancient. It's a very ancient language, which is part of what makes it cool. But that's part of it. So yeah, I think Macedonian is considerably easier. My limited experience with it, I found it much easier. And I have a friend that lives over there, and he's learned Macedonian, and he looked into learning Albanian. He was like, forget it, just forget it. It's very confusing. All right, so what else we got? Jason says we plan on walking over the Macedonian border from Pogradec to go to the big church. How feasible is it to park and rent a car at the border and walk? It's very feasible. But if you're going to rent a car to go over, I assume you're talking about Saint Nom, which is the monastery here, which actually used to be in Albania. North Macedonia gifted it or Albania gifted it to North Macedonia at some point. I don't know the exact history of what that is, but yeah, Saint Nom's monastery, very pretty place. Lots of springs around it that feed the lakes, blue ponds with ducks and fish, and then you have the Byzantine monastery there. Very, very beautiful. If you're going to rent a car there, all you need to do is get a cross-border insurance, which if you go to one of the insurers in town, it's they call it a green card. It's like €15. Just get that and drive straight to the monastery. I think that'd be easier than parking and walking. But it is close. If you want to park at the border and just walk in, have at it. But if you drive in, you can go to the monastery and then go up the road 30 minutes and go to Ohrid, which is just an absolutely amazing town, which is also a Byzantine town. It was also turned Bulgarian. It was a Greek town, Roman town, Byzantine town, Bulgarian town, actually Ottoman town. And it's got layers and layers of history, lots of Byzantine churches, lots of Ottoman buildings, some Greek ruins. Beautiful, beautiful place. Big Roman theater. So if you haven't been there, Jason, I would suggest you take 2 days. So drive over, go to St. Nom. Yeah, that's like maybe half a day, even quarter day thing. It's not that big of an area. Get back in, head up to Ohrid, stay overnight, and just have a really nice afternoon there, and then spend the next morning, have a really good lunch, and then come back to Albania, or even dinner, and come back at night. It's well worth it. Ohrid is a really beautiful place. Okay, so where are we at here? When will I be able to move overseas to retire and apply for that D visa? Yeah, I don't know exactly what your situation is, Regina, but you already are overseas. You live in Japan, so you're kind of living the dream already, and you've got a job over there. So that's you can't. It's hard to beat that. You're in a really cool place with really good food and really amazing culture. Japan's always been on my list of places I want to visit. I really want to see that Kyoto castle in person at some point in my life, but I don't know if I'm going to make it over there. And I love my Fujifilm cameras and stuff. It's a paradise for camera nerds like me. So yeah, good on you for getting to be in Japan and making a living there, eating the world's best sushi and chicken katsu and panko breadcrumb. It sounds great. All right, let's see what else we got here. So John Gowan says same thing about New Orleans. Great place to be from. Visit and leave. Yeah, I imagine New Orleans looks like it's a really cool town to visit, but I don't think I want to live there or anywhere in Louisiana, even if for nothing else because of the heat. Food looks good. Music looks amazing. Architecture, at least in that particular town, looks great. Yeah, I understand your sentiment. I lived in Florida for years, and I utterly hated it. I don't ever want to be in the Southeast anywhere ever again. Let's see. Yeah, so Michelle says, my Albanian teacher says, if you can learn Albanian, you'll be able to learn any other language. Yeah, I think that's true. It's outside of like an Asian language where you have to learn, the characters and different scripts. I think Albanian is I would say, probably is the hardest European language that uses like the Latin or Greek alphabet. It's Phoenician alphabet. It's both based on. Really difficult. Really difficult. But I would imagine Arabic with the script or Japanese or Chinese with their script would probably be even harder. Okay, so let's see. Cheers from Kansas City. We're planning our scope-out trip to Albania right now. Flights are pricey, but it is what it is. We are coming. Oh, well, I hope you have a good trip. I always highly recommend Turkish Airways. I've always had really good luck with them. The food on Turkish is good. They have a huge baggage allowance, so you check one suitcase and you check one suitcase empty, and then you can bring back souvenirs and all that good stuff. If they go to Kansas City at all, and then Turkish usually has really good prices too, and they have you can sign up for an extended layover, which is something I did on one of my trips here. So instead of having like a 4 or 6 hour layover, I did a 24-hour layover in Istanbul and got a visa. So I got to the airport. They have lockers you can put your luggage in. Or if you have a connecting flight, you don't even have to worry about that unless you have like carry-ons. But if you have carry-ons, you have lockers you can put your stuff in, and then go into Istanbul for the day and for the next morning and see the sights. Go see the Hagia Sophia and some of the Byzantine ruins and the Blue Mosque and all these really amazing sites. Istanbul, it's a crowded and busy city, but it has its own charm and some really, really, really amazing sites and really good food too. So. Yeah, Turks aren't all bad. They have there's some cool stuff there. What else do we have here? Even the cities change based on how it's used in a sentence. Dan talking about Albanian with the E with the ellipsis or whatever it is over. Yeah, Albanian it's a ridiculously tough language. I actually had an Albanian tell me the other day. Andrea and I were interviewed for Euronews. If you didn't see that on my Facebook or her Facebook, which was really cool. And we came here actually and had coffee with the guy who filmed and interviewed us. And we were talking about it, and he says, "Look, you will never learn Albanian. I've been speaking Albanian my entire life. I have a hard time with it. We all struggle with it. It's that kind of difficult language." Yeah, Jason. I mean, you could leave the car in Albania, but again, if you all you have to do is get the green insurance card for 15 euros, and you don't have to deal with that. You can drive it into North Macedonia and have a good time there. That part of the lake in Ohrid is really gorgeous. It's really a nice place. I don't know if you've ever been to Ohrid, Jason, but if you haven't, you really do yourself a favor. Get the card and the green card, get the insurance, and drive up to Ohrid and spend an evening there and spend overnight. Get at least one full day of Ohrid. It's well worth it. Well, beautiful place. Let's see. Andrea's here. Hi, Andrea. Miss having you here as always. I enjoy doing this. It's always so much more fun when you're here. I really love having you by my side. Much better as a team doing this sort of thing. Let's see. Valentino says hi to Andrea. That's Dan and Michelle's little dog, who Andrea is absolutely in love with. I'm quite fond of it too. Andrea and I are both lovers of small dogs. A lot of people saying hello to Andrea. It's difficult to get a long stay visa in Macedonia. They don't have a retirement visa from what I hear, and you'd have to open a business or buy property. Do you know anyone there with long stay visas? I do. I have an American friend who lives there. He's married to a North Macedonian now, but he wasn't before, and he lived there full time. I don't know what. Next time I talk to him, I'll have to ask him what his visa situation is. I don't think he owned a property either. I don't know how he did it. Maybe he was doing the 90 days in, 90 days out thing. But I do know, as of a couple of years ago when I was shopping countries to move to, you can get a residency visa there if you buy a piece of property. And then it was a piece of property that was more than 40,000 euros. I don't know if it's still that way. And you have to be a member, you have to come from an OECD country, which I imagine everybody in the chat is from an OECD country. So yeah, if you really want to move to North Macedonia, you can buy a property there, and that'll get you residency. I imagine they probably have a digital nomad. Imagine if you have an income, there's a way to make it happen. Find a lawyer. Man, music is really loud. Okay, let's see what we got here. Toronto to Rome, $22 for airfare. That's great, Dan. Our upcoming trip is $220 a person. We're going further than that, but wow, that's a really good price. Maybe we should have gone to Rome. We've already been to Rome, so. Jib says she drove up the mountain here in Pogradec today with our car. It was terrifying. Yeah, it can be. The roads here are actually really good. They put a lot of investment into improving the roads. But if you join my live stream, I think it was last week or maybe it was the week before last when Andrea was with me, we talked about that. How the roads they're paving a lot of them. They're doing a lot of infrastructure improvement, but the roads are still really narrow here. If you're used to big American roads with a shoulder you could basically drive on, you're not going to find the lanes here are basically the size of a shoulder, and they're two-way. And occasionally you have a tour bus or a public transport bus that passes you. It gets really tight. Let's see. Yeah, Lynn is really cool, Jason. Lynn is, I would say, Lynn is a day trip. You can do the whole thing in half a day. Ohrid is really, that's a 2-day town. There's a lot to do in Ohrid. So if you're trying to make a plan around that, I'd suggest you do a day trip to Lynn, get on the bus in the morning, go up there, walk around, go up to the ruins of the basilica. Hopefully the mosaic will be uncovered. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. You get to see that. It's beautiful. It's a really gorgeous place. But it's a kind of I'd say it's a 5-hour place. Oak Ridge is a minimum, I would say, 2-day town. There's a lot to see in Oak Ridge. A lot of really cool, Byzantine monuments and beautiful views and cliffs, and take a boat ride there, which seems touristy, but we did it with my parents, and we really loved. It was well worth the money to go out in one of the little boats and just get that perspective from the lake. Oak Ridge it's a gorgeous town. I can't say it enough. And if you want, Jason, I have a video on Oak Ridge. It's one of the first ones I did. I don't have any. There's no talking. There's no narration, but it does. It is basically just nice music and shots of Oak Ridge from my camera and from my drone. Give you a sense of what it looks like, and you'll see it's this just amazing ancient medieval town with narrow cobblestone streets and gorgeous architecture. It's super cool. Oak Ridge is if you're ever in this area, it's a must see. Castoria too, if you go north of Greece. Castoria is really neat as well. Very similar architecture, similar histories. Let's see. Okay, so here's Andrea's. Valentino, and down with her car, the highest turned in to golf for the rain. Take care. This is Scrabble Buddy. Okay, well, looks like I think I've gone through all the comments. I don't think I've missed any questions. Does anybody have any other questions or comments or anything like that for me? I would love to respond to you because I don't have Andrea she's not here for us to bounce back and forth on things. We also went to the dirt road I call Rooster Road because there were roosters everywhere and came back down, all dirt. I found terrifying, couldn't see straight down the mountain. I'm not sure where you're talking about, Jip. Where are you talking about, Jip? You said you were, was it here in Pogradec that you were on this road? Because all the roads that I take around here are paved. I don't know any. Oh, are you talking about the road that goes up to the castle? Is that what you're talking about? That road is not paved, and it is rough. I recommend that as a hike and not a drive. Although I think they have been doing infrastructure improvement up there, and they kind of ruined some of the archaeological site too, in my opinion. A lot of people are not happy with how that site is developed, but they have, some of it's been improved and some of it's been kind of put into bad shape. If you look at I have a video on the castle, and you can actually see them doing some of the work on it. I went up there on a couple site visits to make that video and kind of give you a juxtaposition of kind of what it looked like before they started working on the site compared to what it looked like while they were working on the site. I don't have any of them being done. Actually, I don't think they are done. They've stopped working on it for a while. Maybe they have ran out of money. I don't know. It does kind of seem like they did part of a job and now it's just not being dealt with. But Andrea and I were very disappointed. They were digging a lot of it out, and there were spoil piles that they took away from the castle and dumped. And while we were hiking up there, we decided to take a tangent and just kind of go up this road and explore some of the area, which is really beautiful up there. And we found some of these spoil piles, and they were full of artifacts, pottery, like amphora handles, and like who knows what else. I mean, just littered with artifacts. So it was kind of upsetting for someone with my background to see that they just basically not bulldozed but excavated just all that shit out of there and then just dumped it. And clearly there was a lot of material. Maybe they just feel like there's so much of it that they didn't care. I don't know. It bothered me. But look at my Pogradec Castle video, please. Like I said, I'm trying to I need my hours up, trying to get my views up. I do a history of Pogradec Castle, which is the castle ruin that we have up here at the top of the hill, and I think you'll like it. I hope you do. Let's see. And yes, there are a lot of roosters. There are a lot of chickens on any road you go to here. And donkeys, yes, lots of donkeys, and sheep and goats. Jason says we're looking at the castle but saw the road. No thanks. Yeah, it's a much better walk than it is a drive. And there's a trail that goes. There's actually like a hiking trail, not on the road, that goes kind of straight up that hill to the castle. And next time you're back here, I suggest maybe you take that and go up there. And if you look at my video, you'll actually see, when I have the drone, you can, and I'm kind of circling that hill where the castle is. You can see the trail snaking its way up there. It's pretty easy to identify. Let's see, what do we got? Sounds like an ATV would be easier. Yeah, an ATV would certainly be easier. I would say, I prefer walking. I don't really like ATVs. They're loud and they kind of ruin the experience, I think. That's just my opinion, though. Hello, Craig. Do you own property in Albania? I ask because I've seen some previous videos you've made which list some homes for sale. I didn't know if these were homes you've purchased and are selling. The first part of your question is yes, I own a house here. The videos you have seen are not my house. So something I'm kind of doing on the side to try and help support myself is I will market other people's homes for them. I have, mediocre photography and video skills and my drone. So I figure I try to put that to some use outside of me doing my history videos. And those videos get a lot of clicks too. Plus it also gives my viewers a chance to see what a house here in Albania is like, price-wise and location-wise and things like that. I've got another couple that I need to do. The weather has been really bad here lately. And I don't like shooting places when the weather's bad, but there is another place that I'll be shooting soon. 200,000 euros. It's at least 3 floors. It's pretty big place in the village of Gures, which is right up on the Macedonian border. Nice village, gorgeous views, and hopefully, if the weather breaks, I'll try and get over there this week and get that filmed, and I'll get that video out and maybe the week after. So yeah, the houses you see in my videos are houses I'm marketing for other people. Disclaimer, I'm not a real estate agent. This is just something I do on the side. And yeah, hopefully, if you see a house that you like. The first one I did, that one's no longer on the market. But the recent one I did, the one for 55,000 euros, which is in my village, that one is still available. And in fact, John Gallen, I think, wants to see it when he comes here. So it's, yeah, that's something I do, and I'm going to be doing more of it. I have a couple apartments as well that I'm going to showcase to help rent out. They're not mine. They belong to a friend of mine. Actually, they belong to a friend's brother of mine. So, and again, like the weather, I've had my foot issue, and that kept me from doing it for a while, and that's getting better. But the weather's been terrible here. It's just we've been getting rain, and then we've had a couple of days of sunshine where it was supposed to rain. So I didn't schedule to go out and shoot any of these houses those days because I thought it was going to be rainy and gray. And, to get good drone shots and to make the houses look more appealing, I want to have, decent weather. Let's see. Jip says we were trying to find a property in Pogradec under 50K. Yeah, Jip, I remember you. I think you reached out in one of my live streams or something about the one house, and that's probably as close as you're going to get. You might find something a little less expensive. That house is in the village. I'd be happy to take you and show it to you. That's going to be right in that range. I'll tell you right now, probably could go down as low as 52K. That's probably the bottom though. Listed at 55 to add a little wiggle room, which you don't usually see in Albania. Normally, when you see a house listing, that's like the price. There's usually, it's not like in the U.S. where we list a place for 200,000, but they'll take 190. Then usually, when you see a price, that's the price they want. In this case, listed at 55, I think 52 would probably get the job done if you're really interested in it and you want that kind of place. So, and again, all my contact information is in in my, if it's not in the description of this video, it's in the description of my YouTube channel as a whole. And I'm on WhatsApp and I'm on Facebook, so you can get me on Messenger, you can get me on WhatsApp, you can write a comment on one of my videos. It doesn't even have to be this one. In fact, if you do it in the live stream, live chat, that won't be here afterwards, I don't think. But you can leave a comment on one of my house videos and say, hey, I'd like to see this house, and we can arrange something. So if that's something you're interested in, just let me know, and I'm always available. Messenger, WhatsApp, comments here, even comments on Facebook, whatever. Just I'm available. Apartments are good. Yeah, the only apartments I have available right now that I'm helping with are for rent. They're not for sale. I personally don't like apartments, but to each his own. There's issues with lots. If you watch my video on purchasing a house in Albania, purchasing a house or an apartment in Albania, I go over some of the pros and cons. And for me, there's too many cons to apartments. But yeah, you can watch that video if you want more details, or you can ask me what what it is. I don't like them because of maintenance and neighbors and not having control of your own building, and there's so many issues that come with apartments. Let's see. John says he'll be here next week to view properties. All right, John. It is a small chance I'll put my property up for sale as well. So if you're interested, John, maybe we'll go over to my place and I'll show you that too. Oh, let's see. Can we see it tomorrow? Jip says. Monday. Probably not tomorrow, Jip. I'm not going to be out that way. But the day after, we are leaving Pogradec tomorrow. I'd love to see the house. Damn. What time are you leaving Pogradec, Jip? And let me see what I can do. I won't be in that area until the afternoon. So I apologize. I'm in town now, and that's out in the village. I can try and make an arrangement for it, but it's short notice, and I don't know if I'll even be able. I don't have a key to it. I have to go to the neighbor to get a key, and I need a little more lead time than that. But contact me on my WhatsApp so that I have your contact and I can get back to you, and I'll see what I can do. Okay. Let's see. Sherlock. The office looks cozy in the dark academy. Yeah, this is. I even have other people in my office here tonight. No, this is as Dan said. This is the bar. Sherlock is where I'm doing my live stream from tonight. Again, thank you everyone for joining me. I'm gonna wrap this up here, I think. Jip says, I thought it was already sold. No, the first video I did of the White House, that one is off the market. The one that's kind of more of a gray color, that is still available. So if that's the one you're interested in, let me know. And again, preferably find me on WhatsApp and contact me through there. And we can try and arrange something. I don't know if I'll be able to show it tomorrow, but I'll see what I can do. Tip says we like the gray one. Okay, yeah, that one is still available. John's also interested in that place, and I'll see what I can do for tomorrow. Again, contact me on WhatsApp, and I'll reach out and see if the neighbor's going to be there and if I can get into that place tomorrow. And then I'll get back to you and let you know either way. And then if so, I'll come up with a time. So thanks for the live, everyone. All right. Everybody's thanking me for the live, which means it is time for me to wrap up. And I would like to thank you. I appreciate everyone's support for the channel. Also, as I have to say, I have my Patreon. I also have Buy Me a Coffee if you want to support the channel in that way. I really appreciate the support I've gotten from folks. It goes without saying that. Well, I mean, I guess it doesn't go without saying. I have to say, it really helps the channel out a lot, and it allows me to continue doing what I do. Dan and Michelle sent me the camera. People who have bought me coffee, and Regina, and really helps out, and it's very much appreciated, and I appreciate all of you guys, and I really love that you all join me, and I hope that I get to see you again next week, and hopefully with Andrea. Let's hope. And yeah, I miss Andrea too. So yeah, a good night, and in Albanian it is not Namir. So not Namir, everybody, and thanks again, and good night from Sherlock's, and hopefully I see you again next week. If you haven't watched my new video, please go watch it, and my guitar video, and the Pogradec Castle video, and anything else you can find. I'm really trying to get those hours over the threshold, so I would appreciate it. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a good night.